Greetings, my friends. I'm here at PAX West in Seattle, which is one of the biggest video game conventions on earth, one of like my favorite events of the summer. Walking around, looking at the cosplay and the video game stuff, and I brought these with me. The AirPods 4 with ANC. One of my favorite Apple inventions ever, and I think one of the best pairs of earphones on the entire planet that's ever existed. And yes, I include AirPods Pro 2 in that. I think that these are better than AirPods Pro 2, which I'll talk about, especially for most people. I think for 95% of people, these are gonna be the absolute best earphones that you can get. And this place is the perfect place to talk about why. So there's some things I actually love about the AirPods for the ANC, and there's a few things that I kind of hate. I actually never thought that Apple would ever release a product like AirPods 4 with ANC. ANC don't really make a ton of sense in a pair of earphones that aren't sealed inside your ear or over your ear like AirPods Max or like the AirPods Pro 2, because as you move your head around, depending on the fit of the actual AirPod, air or sound still kind of creeps into your ear and it breaks that seal, and it makes it hard to kind of create that active noise cancellation inside of it. And yet they did it, which I love, but I'm still kind of shocked by. We're all using our AirPods out and about, in the wild, in the office, and I just never really realized how much noise pollution was making it in to my ears and causing me to crank up the audio all the time just so I could actually hear. And the thing about the active noise cancellation on the AirPods 4 is like once you activate it, all that background noise just kind of melts away. And they're not perfect, but you can hear whatever you're listening to much, much easier. And you don't need to crank and blast the audio just to kind of overcome the external noise that is coming in. And that makes the listening experience way less fatiguing, and you can just sit there and relax and listen or watch whatever you're watching. Back near the Nintendo booth, we got Borderlands 4 playing in 4K, and I'm kind of shocked to say that it actually looks decent. It actually looks pretty good in 4K. I never would have thought I would ever say that about a Nintendo Switch product. When I go on an airplane, historically, I have pretty much always used my AirPods Max because they drown out all of the airplane noise and you can just kind of relax. As a test, the last time I was flying on a long flight from Seattle to Florida, I didn't bring my AirPods Max. I only brought my AirPods 4 with ANC. And I kid you not, on an airplane with the constant hum, the AirPods 4 did absolutely terrific at noise cancellation, so much that I'm gonna sell my AirPods Max. Like, I was kind of reserving them just to have active noise cancellation on flights, and the AirPods 4 works so well that I just don't really feel like I need AirPods Max anymore. The ANC is an absolute game changer, and it makes using AirPods so much more of a pleasant experience, and it makes them so much more versatile that I just use them everywhere I go. They have become an absolutely indispensable tool for me, and I take them with me everywhere. And sometimes I wear them and I'm not even listening to anything. I just turn on the ANC so that I don't hear all the extraneous noise happening around me, like in a place like this. Here's the other thing about the AirPods 4, and this could be AirPods 4 in general, not necessarily the ones with ANC, which is the one that I have, although I don't think that you should buy the ones without ANC because it's just that good. And this is something I have harped on a lot, and this is the reason why I always say you should get the regular AirPods over the AirPods Pro, and it is situational awareness. Now, you may be a fan of the AirPods Pro, and I'm totally cool with that. I think that it has its audience. Some people don't want to have any audio creeping in. They want to have absolute sound isolation. It's kind of like the conversation about, open back headphones versus closed headphones. I kind of like the open personally, as you can imagine, because I like the ambient noise kind of sneaking in just a little bit, but it's also kind of a safety thing. When you're walking around in your normal life, if you're riding your bike, if you're in your car, like you don't want to not be able to hear anything that happens around you. And with the AirPods Pro, they seal so good and they block out the sound, and then you add in the noise cancellation, that I think it actually creates kind of like a dangerous situation if you're using them when you're just walking around. Now, if you're at your desk, that's a completely different thing. But when you're walking around or driving or riding your bike, you kind of need to be able to hear what's happening around you. I don't think that everyone needs to have complete and total sound isolation. And that's what I don't like about the AirPods Pro 2. Well, there's other things I don't like, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But I think having the situational awareness with the option to have the ANC, I think kind of creates the perfect blend. And when you turn off the ANC, you don't need to have transparency mode turned on to hear what's happening around you like you do with the AirPods Pro 2. With the AirPods Pro 2, you're kind of getting your ear holes plugged up, and unless you turn on transparency mode or you take one out, you really aren't going to hear what's happening around you, and that's a problem. That's something that I don't like. Now we're kind of walking through like the artist alley part of PAX West. This is one of my favorite parts. It's where a lot of the smaller creators are, games that you maybe never heard of but are passion projects for a lot of the people that build them. And you'll see a lot of like cool games that you would never see like a AAA publisher actually make. Like this game is the perfect example. Like they recreated a game where they have like these guns and you can play like those arcade games from the 90s where you can shoot things popping up on your screen. Time Crisis, for example. I've been watching previews of it and it seems like it actually works pretty well. Of course, as I stand here, nothing's actually happening. So we're gonna move on. Here's another reason why I like AirPods 4 and just AirPods in general over AirPods Pro, and that is the comfort. I do not know how you guys do it. How do you wear AirPods Pro with those dang silicone tips? I don't want any tips in my ears. You want to have some tips in your ears? You go right ahead. All the tips, I'll save them for you. I cannot stand having tips in my ears. It always makes my ear canals hurt, and so I get incredibly fatigued wearing AirPods Pro. But the thing about AirPods, at least for me, I know this isn't for everybody, but they just fit my ear canals almost perfectly. I can wear them all day, no issues. I can wear them at night. I've fallen asleep in them so many times and woken up hours later with like one in my ear and like one in my bed. And so they're just way more comfortable for me. So it's a personal preference thing, I totally admit. I really don't like these silicone tips on the AirPods Pro 2, and I just prefer the fit of the regular AirPods. That might be different for you, but I think in general, the AirPods are just way more comfortable. Last but not least, things that I love about AirPods 4 with ANC, that is the case. This case is one of the best inventions that Apple has ever had. No joke. It's got USB-C, it's got Find My, it's got the ability to play sounds if you lose them, which I don't know about you, but I lose mine all the time. And being able to ping my case, and this thing's loud. In fact, I think we need to do a demo. I'm gonna go ahead and just place these right there. And we're gonna lock all the way over here. Now I can hear these when I ping them across my entire house and go right to them. I might have to play the sound a few times, but you know, I can hear them from everywhere in my house, which is impressive. Ready? Okay, that was a major fail. I had to go move them because I think they were too close to the concrete. With all the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth bouncing around in here, I couldn't get them to actually go off. So let's try this again. Did you hear that? That's from about 50 feet away. That sound is so distinct, it will help you to find your AirPods no matter where they are. And that will save you a ton of time because I know you're gonna lose your AirPods eventually. Of course, one thing I need to talk about is the sound quality. I mean, look, they sound good. They sound good. Look at the other videos on my channel. I know what good sound sounds like. Do they sound the best? No. They're not AirPods Max, although to be honest, I'm not even sure the AirPods Max sound the best either. They're basically just like a glorified pair of Bluetooth headphones, and they don't even support the high codec or the high fidelity codec of Bluetooth. Totally weird for a pair of $500 headphones. But these sound really good. Do they sound as good as the AirPods Pro? Probably not, but I think a big part of that is that the AirPods Pro have sound isolation, so you just hear them better. I think these sound absolutely beautiful. I never think to myself, oh, like this doesn't actually sound good. And the thing is at a certain point, you have to choose whether you want convenience or if you want the absolute most impeccable sound. I think these strike a nice balance, and they sound really good. Okay, so now we have to talk about some stuff that I don't like about the AirPods 4 with ANC. And there are weird changes that were made, and I don't understand why they were made. And they kind of made the AirPods a little bit worse for me. I don't hate them. They haven't ruined the AirPods, but they definitely diminished what were an absolutely amazing product to one that I really still love, but I'm kind of annoyed by. Okay, first up, I don't know why they did this, but they changed the shape of the actual AirPod. And again, maybe selfishly, the AirPods have always been the absolute perfect shape for my ear. They were kind of bulbous, and they created like a really great seal inside my ear, which still left a space, for comfort. Wasn't too expanded to like push on my ears. But on these new AirPods, they made them flatter and narrower. And I really don't know why they did that. And the problem is now, especially in my right ear, which I've learned is not the same size as my left ear hole, apparently, it just kind of doesn't sit in there as well as it used to. And I would say that's true for both ears, but particularly for the right ear. Let me show you. So when I put in AirPods before, it was like an absolutely perfect seal. Now, I've been having a problem that some other people have. Like when I move my head, and maybe it's not really doing it that so much that you can see in the camera, I can kind of feel this wiggle a little bit. And I have had occasions where like whatever action I'm doing, it actually falls out of my ear, which has never happened before. And so this one particularly just kind of rocks back and forth now, whereas before it was just kind of fixed in my ear. I don't know why they changed the shape. Maybe it has something to do with the ANC, and they don't want the seal to be too strong because active noise cancellation uses like anti-noise, for lack of a better way of describing it, which kind of creates like a low hum, and maybe that hum creates pressure and they don't want to like over-pressurize your ears. But I don't know, that doesn't make sense because the AirPods Pro 2 create a perfect seal. I don't know why they did it, but I don't like it. These don't fit as well as they used to, and it's kind of annoying. One of the other things that really kind of annoys me about the AirPods 4 is they nerfed the case. So they made the case better in a lot of ways, but they also made it slightly worse. One of the things I didn't mention before is that you can charge the case via any kind of wireless charging. And actually, you can charge it with the charger for the Apple Watch, which is absolutely so convenient, and I love it. But one of the things that I don't like is that they removed, apparently, the MagSafe compatibility. Yeah, so MagSafe was a thing on the AirPods 3 case. I used it all the time. But they removed the MagSafe magnet from the AirPods 4 case. It's there on the AirPods Pro, not here. Very weird and super annoying. So you can use wireless charging on these, and it works, but you can't snap this onto a MagSafe charger. It will just bloop, fall off, which I didn't know for a while. I actually thought that my case was having an issue, and as I started researching, I was like, oh, it's not having an issue. Tim Cook's the issue. One of the last things I wanted to mention that I've noticed is like, even though the ANC on these have gotten to be much better, they've definitely improved it, it feels. There are still like situations where the ANC doesn't perform well. Like if you're on a road trip and there's lots of non-monotonous noises like car driving by or whatever, these things still sometimes, it's not bad, have an issue with that. And they create like strange audio artifacts where it's trying to cancel the noise, but because they don't seal perfectly and because the noise is irregular, they have a hard time with that. Not the end of the world. I deal with it. these are still my primary earphones for virtually every use, even on road trips. So it doesn't annoy me that bad, but something to be aware of. The convention's definitely winding down. Everyone's going out. I'm going in for one last peek around. The thing I think is worth pointing out is that we're right around the corner from a Apple event. Apple's holding an event probably like 2 weeks from now at the time of this recording. And we're gonna get a new AirPods Pro 2, I think, or AirPods Pro 3, which means the case will be updated to make it in line with the features that come in the AirPods 4 case. If that matters to you, because the AirPods Pro 2 case is kind of outdated right now. So we're in line for an update in that front. Final thoughts. Hopefully I've convinced you that AirPods 4 with ANC are the perfect headphones for you. Here's what I would say, closing thoughts. If you were my friend and we were talking and you asked me what earphones you should buy, this is exactly what I would have told you. I think AirPods 4 with ANC are one of the greatest products Apple's ever made. I think they are the perfect earphones for like 95, dare I say 96% of people. I love mine. The ANC is transformative. Do not bother getting the ones without the ANC. Yes, it makes that much of a difference. It's worth the extra money. Plus they go on sale from time to time and you can get them for like 130, 140 bucks. I absolutely love mine and I think that you'll love yours too. This has been Air from Elijah, Gadget Hunter. I'm walking around Seattle. If you see me, come say hi, but don't you make eye contact. If you like this content, make sure you hit that like button. If you want to see more of me in the future, make sure that you tickle that subscribe button. I'm signing off from downtown Seattle, from the empty floor of PAX West. I'll see you guys next time. Bonus footage. This is some of the absolutely mind-blowing scale of PAX. I mean, first of all, look at this convention center. One of the most beautiful places in Seattle. This is our brand new convention center, our second one. And they set up these LAN parties where you can just kind of like come and hang out and play video games with your friends. They have these all over the place. Look at the scale of this friggin' place. Look at the scale of this hall. It probably holds, I don't know, 10,000 people. People just hanging out. I think this one is BYOC, bring your own computer, although they provide the screens. These ones are all consoles. All these consoles are provided. They have old school consoles that you can play. Absolutely love this convention. Sad to see it over. The capstone of my summer. This is my second sign off. Air from Elijah, really signing off this time. I'll see you guys next time.